Hello everyone. Today's topic: Loki the Trickster. The trickster primarily leads to transformation, but does so indirectly through disruption of order, paradox, provocation, and the breaking of familiar structures. How the trickster initiates transformation. Destroys stability. The trickster appears where a system has become rigid or stagnant. He introduces chaos to show that the old rules no longer work. Brings what is hidden to the surface. Through irony, deception, or play, he exposes shadow aspects. What has been repressed or ignored. Provokes crisis, shift, and go to a new form. Transformation does not happen gently, but through tension. Crisis becomes the point of transition, is not transformation itself. An important nuance: the trickster is a catalyst, not the final result. He starts the process, but integrating the change is the task of another stage, often the hero or the sake. Here we enter the core of transformation. Loki and Ragnarok are not the end of the world, but a psychic mechanism of renewal of the self when the old ego can no longer withstand the truth. Archetypal formula: Loki is the initiator of the collapse of illusions. Ragnarok is the archetype of the death of an old psychic structure. Odin is an old form of meaning that must die for a new one to be born. Ragnarok begins not when chaos arrives, but when order loses its truthfulness. The deeper meaning of Ragnarok, from a Jungian perspective, not a catastrophe, an initiative psychic process. Ragnarok is the moment when the ego can no longer sustain the old identity, conscious meaning. Odin has fallen behind in a truth. The shadow and the unconscious demand a restricting. Loki does not create Ragnarok. He removes the safety locks so the process can occur. How Loki triggers Ragnarok in the psyche. Bound Loki, repressed truth. When Loki is bound, you know the truth but do not live it. You laugh in order not to feel. You rationalize what has long been dead. This is the phase of postponed Ragnarok. Unbinding Loki, breakthrough of the shadow. What begins? A series of strange decisions, impulsive words, disappearance of the fear of loss, and inner enough. People think this is a crisis. In reality, it is permission for truth. Death of the gods, death of identities. In Ragnarok, the following perish: old rules, old values, old ideals, the figure of who I was supposed to be, especially important. The death of Odin, the end of the old meaning of life, the key Jungian moment. Jung called this an enantiodromnia, a transition into the opposite when a system reaches its limit. Ragnarok, the enantiodromnia of the self. Practical work with Ragnarok. Practice 1. What must die? Very difficult but essential. Write down: which identity can I no longer honestly sustain? Which rule am I playing but not living? Which meaning has been exhausted? What am I guarding out of fear rather than love? There are the names of the gods who die. Practice 2. A container for chaos. You cannot live through Ragnarok without a container. Create 3 supports: body, movement, sleep, breathing, witness, journal, therapy, silence. Boundaries: do not destroy everything at once. Loki needs a frame, otherwise he becomes destructive. Practice 3. After Ragnarok. Questions after the collapse. what remained even when everything burned, what proved to be alive without effort, which meaning needs no proof. In the myth, the world is reborn. The psyche works the same way. Signs of healthy Ragnarok: grief without depression, fear without panic, loss without emptiness, silence without deadness, simplicity without cynicism. An important warning: do not artificially accelerate Ragnarok, do not romanticize destruction. Loki does not demand destroy everything. He demands that you stop lying. Final formula: Loki is true without form. Ragnarok is a form that can no longer withstand truth. Personal relationships. Here, Loki manifests must sharply, because intimacy is the place where ego illusions do not last long. No, now we will speak not romantically. Loki is in relationships, Jungian level, basic formula. Loki in intimacy is the truth that can no longer be hidden behind rules. He appears where you are playing a partner instead of being one. Closeness has become safe but dead. The bond is held together by control rather than aliveness. 5. Typical manifestation of Loki in relationships. Loki sees boundaries, can wait, allows choice. Trauma, not or never, ultimatums, impulsivity. If there is no choice, it is not Loki. Ethics. The most important point. Loki does not remove responsibility, does not justify cruelty, does not deny consequences. Neurosis. I couldn't act differently. They made me do it. It's just my nature. Loki does not need excuses. Relationship to intimacy. Loki risks intimacy but does not flee from it, is willing to be seen. Trauma either emerges or disappears or attacked in order not to be vulnerable. Truth is not afraid of being seen. Repetition of the scenery. Loki appears at nodal moments, does not repeat mechanically, changes form after awareness. Neurosis, the same storyline, the same conflicts, the same endings. If the scenery does not change, it is not an archetype, it is a loop. The key safety rule. If a truth demands that you immediately destroy yourself, a relationship, or your life, it is not Loki. Loki never demands self-destruction. He demands that you stop lying. The Loki filter practice. Before acting or speaking, ask yourself 3 questions. Do I feel clearer even if I am afraid? Am I taking responsibility for consequences? Will I be able to repeat this tomorrow calmly? If yes, this is Loki. If no, stop. This is material for therapy, not for action. Formula: Loki is true that leads to wholeness. Trauma is pain masquerading as true. There are moments when archetypal work with the trickster is better paused or its format changed. The trickster is a powerful catalyst, but without a container he becomes a destabilizer. Below are clear markers of when to stop, why, and what to do instead. When it's better to stop working with the trickster. Loss of a psychological container. Signs: chaos, indecision, impulsive actions, laughter, irony as protection from any seriousness. I don't care. Cynicism, devaluation, risk. The trickster begins to rule instead of serving transformation. What to do? Temporarily shift to archetypes of structure. Activation of trauma or regression. Signs: sharp emotional swings, flashbacks, panic, dissociation, loss of the sense of I am here and now. Risk. The trickster removes defenses without resources of integration. What to do? Stop archetypal work. Return to bodily stabilization and basic safety. Ego inflation. I am above the rules. Science. A sense of omnipotence. Disregard for boundaries, your own and others. Rationalization of destructive actions. It's the trickster. Risk. The archetype possesses the personality. What to do? Grounding, ethics, shadow work, not trickster work. Lacks of integration. Science. Many insights, but no life change. I understand everything without action. Repetition of the same patterns. Risk. The trickster turns into endless game. What to do? Pause and an integration path. Practice, decisions, boundaries. Addiction to chaos. Science. Calm feels dead. Constant search for provocation. Fear of stability. Risk. The person lives in the trickster instead of working with him. What to do? Conscious slowing down. Return to rhythm and order. A crucial principle key. You cannot work with the trickster for long without pauses. He is effective only in dosed entries. The trickster is not for constant living, not for unsupported crises, not for entertainment with the deep. What is needed here is a universal, safe stabilization practice, not archetypal without imagery, something anyone can do even in panic. This is important. When I lose myself, we do not go deeper, we return to the body and to reality. Practice, return to ground. 3-5 minutes can be done anywhere. When to do it? Panic, anxiety, the feeling I am disappearing, I am not held, the disorientation, emotional overheating after intense inner work. Step 1. Name reality. 30-60 seconds. Out loud or silently, slowly. I am name. I am age. I am now in place. Today is date or day of the week. Why? This restores the boundaries of the self and stops dissolving. Step 2. Body anchor. 1-2 minutes. Create physical contact with support. Press your feet firmly into the floor or grip your knees, the chair with your hands, or press your palm against your chest. Say, my body is here. It holds me. Important. Do not analyze. Only feel pressure and weight. Step 3. Counted breathing. 1 minute. No deep breathing. No imagery. Inhale for 4 times. Pause for 2 times. Exhale for 6 times. Repeat all of this 5 times. Why? A long exhale calms the nervous system. Step 4. 5, 4, 3. 1 minute. Name 5 things you see, 4 things you feel with your body, 3 sounds you hear. This is critical. The brain returns to the here and now. Step 5. Closing phrase. Choose one and repeat it 2-3 times. This is a state and it will pass. I am safe right now. I'm returning to myself step by step. Very important. If panic begins, do not work with archetypes. Do not search for meaning. Do not go deeper. We ground ourselves. This practice does no harm, does not open the subconscious, is suitable for anyone. Can be a quick safety button. This is not practice for transformation. This is practice of returning to yourself. and it is always more important than any insight. On my YouTube channel page as well as on my Telegram channel, you can find this practice and other. Thank you all.